I, 21 female, have fallen out of love with my boyfriend, 21 male. Can we work this out or is it too late? Me, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 21 male, have been dating for close to 3 years now and it's been absolutely peaceful and perfect. We're currently living together, own 2 pets, and spend every free minute with one another without ever getting on each other's nerves. He's literally the perfect guy in so many ways, but still, I feel like I've fallen out of love with him. Why? It's pretty simple, he's my best friend, but I don't really see him as a romantic partner anymore. Being physically close to him repulses me, not because he's unattractive, oversteps boundaries or anything like that, but because he's more of a friend to me than anything else. We don't have sex anymore, it's been around 7 months now, and I genuinely miss it, but I also can't imagine myself sleeping with him anymore. I feel like he's become nothing but a roommate and I don't know how to fix this. We've gone on very romantic dates and everything, but I still can't bring myself to see him as anything other than a friend. The worst part, a few months ago I met a guy the first find myself very drawn to. He recently expressed being interested, not up front, but with some very noticeable hints, in me, and I feel absolutely disgusting for saying this, but I feel like I'm passing on an opportunity here. I won't cheat on my current boyfriend, but I also feel so stuck and annoyed with him. I know the best thing would be to break up with him, but I feel like I can't. As I've said, we live together and have 2 pets. Our lease won't end for another year and neither of us would be able to pay it on our own, so moving out prior also isn't possible. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, so there also isn't really the possibility of asking a friend to move in as a roommate. And then there are these pets, he loves them dearly and so do I. I was the one who adopted them and we've already discussed that in case of a breakup, I would take them with me, but I would feel so bad for taking them away from him. I also don't want to lose the connection I have with him. He's someone I can talk to about anything and everything. He knows everything about me and I love him so much, but sadly just in a platonic way. I don't want to break his heart and I know that he doesn't feel the same way that I do. He mentions how he wants to spend the rest of his life with me. He talks about marriage a lot and I don't know how to tell him that I don't feel the same way anymore. However, I also don't want to keep him in this relationship for his own sake. He deserves someone who genuinely loves him. He has so much love to give and deserves nothing but the absolute best. Being with a woman who doesn't love him back isn't what I want for him. I guess what I'm asking, is there a way to part on good terms with him? How could the issue with our apartment be solved? Is there a possibility of my feelings for him coming back? Is holding on a little longer a good idea? You're a slave to your feelings. Love takes work, it's not just a fleeting moment in time where one second you feel it and the next second you don't. Break up with him and let him find someone who will actually fight for the relationship. If you feel like he is only friend material, break up with him and let him find someone who loves him the way he wants to be loved. Can you explain why you were attracted to him, had sex with him, wanted to marry him, he's been perfect, but now are repulsed by him? That's really not normal. If you don't face this issue now, are headed down a path of vapid, temporary relationships that will leave you feeling alone. Like, if it's not there anymore, forcing it is just gonna make it worse. It's better to have that talk now. Figure out the practical stuff like pets and the apartment and move on. It's normal to feel hurt, but at least it's honest. So, dump your BF, and see if the grass truly is greener in another pasture. Just don't come crawling back when you find out it's not. Stop toying with your BF's life and break up with him. You don't deserve him. Yep, I knew it. As soon as you fall out of love with someone it's cause you micro-cheated and caught feelings for someone else. If you don't love him just leave, cause staying is gonna hurt him so much more. Just tell him and you guys will figure out the situation. Just hope you have a couch. My 20F boyfriend, 20M, started to film me without my consent? Okay, me and my boyfriend have been dating for almost 3 years. Today when we were starting to get intimate and he was using his hand on me, I suddenly saw a flash from his phone. I instantly said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he said, "I don't know what happened. Why did it start filming?" After that I was quiet for a little and went to the bathroom to gather myself since I was kinda panicking. When I came back I asked him, "Are you seriously trying to tell me that you accidentally opened the camera and just started filming?" After that he admitted that he started filming but had no idea why did he do it, and he seemed to actually be shocked with himself about it too. After this I said that it would be better if he spent the night at his own place, and after that we hugged and he left. I made it very clear that this really hurt me and that I was gonna have some trust issues about it. He said he was sorry and he understood that he did something wrong. He deleted the video and say that I could go through his phone to see that he hasn't done this before. He knows that I've had some trauma about similar situations and he understood why it hurt me as much as it did. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. I do really love him and I trust that he hasn't done this before. However, I am feeling kind of betrayed and really hurt about it and I have no idea what to do. Do I let this go? Buddy is holding his phone while being intimate with you then plays dumb. I didn't know it was recording. How did that happen? Stupid phone has a mind of its own. I was on the weather app, I swear. Oh please. Your next move should be dumping this guy. Nope, you don't. And you have to get his phone and make sure it's deleted, including the recently deleted folder. You may need his passcode for this. If you don't want to break up, then at the very least a serious conversation about consent and boundaries must occur. If he didn't get your permission to film and he knows you have issues with it from the past, then there is no excuse he can make for his actions, as it was disrespectful to you in your past. I hope you make the best decision for you, whatever that is. First things first, this is literally a crime in most civilized parts of the world. You could report this to the police and have him prosecuted. If anything, you are underreacting to this. His phone didn't magically find its way into his hand and open the camera app all by itself. This was deliberate and planned. This was a selfish and creepy choice he made. Consent is important and he totally bypassed it. No, because WTF. 3 years and this happens? Something honestly tells me he has another side you have no clue about. This is illegal. He's a shitty actor and an even shittier BF. Get rid. My boyfriend, 26M, told me, 26F, that this is the reality of dating now. I, 26F, met Jay, 26M, on a dating app around May 2024, 8 months together. Our conversations were really good and long. Pretty much the only guy, girl on there that actually responded to everything that I said with paragraphs. What really first attracted me to him was his cats, not important. He seemed like someone who was really good at conversation and he was actually interested in me. He works in specialty, construction, garage doors, and I work in research. He asked me on dates, I asked him on dates, and we saw each other like 2-3 a week for a couple weeks. These were just dates, nothing crazy. We both got out of long relationships and had not dated in a year, so we were going super slow. To be honest, I was falling super fast, which is my bad. We still talked almost every day with these super long texts of paragraphs of stuff. He had mentioned to me that he's a horrible texter and he hates it. Which, fair, but we continued to do it. Everything seemed to be going so good. He is kinda awkward, in a cute way, and shy. I am more extroverted and it didn't bother me to be the one filling the silence with questions about random things, stuff he likes, and stuff I like. I would cook meals for him and leave him leftovers to eat for lunch. It seemed to be going good. Slowly though, I noticed that it would take more and more days for him to reply to me. It didn't bother me much at the time, because I am someone who will double, triple text about random things that I find out or about my day. He had already met my best friends and we had went on double dates. He didn't have any friends in the area that we lived in, so I never met any of his friends. I met his sister, who he is extremely close to, about 2 months in on a camping trip. She lives in California. We were still not officially together, at this point, no label. We got along great, honestly amazing, because we were a lot alike. She introduced me to his cousins on the camping trip as his girlfriend. It was easier. Everything was fine. Then I wouldn't hear from him for about 2-3 days at a time. He said work gets really busy in the summer, which I understand. I didn't question it because he did look tired. But then we only saw each other once every other week, sometimes even 2 weeks at a time, on Saturdays. I could maybe get a 2-weekend in a row streak of hanging out, but only if I asked, begged. About 4 months in, he met my older brother, who of all of the people I have dated, has never met one of them. He didn't really talk much but engaged in conversation when I said something or my brother asked him about stuff. Everything seemed amazing. 5 months in, still not official at the beginning, I met his mom. I was his +1 for his best friend cousin's wedding. I met his grandfather. I was glued to his sister the whole time at the wedding because he was in the wedding party. He came and checked on me a lot and gave me so much attention during this time. We had an amazing time. I was in a lot of the pictures with him and he introduced me as his girlfriend, and at a point I asked, "So am I actually your girlfriend?" And he said, "Well, it feels right." I was so happy and he seemed to be too. After that weekend, he was constantly busy, so it was about 2.5 weeks until we saw each other again. We went to my friend's Halloween party. Had an amazing time. But the next day, Sunday, my friend had messaged me a picture of Jay that had liked her sister on the dating app we were on before. She said it had to be recent. Which yes, because of the 30-day inactivity thing. I was distraught. I texted him I was coming over and we talked. He reassured me that he had deleted the apps, and he did show me. He said that, I deleted them the night we became official. Which I understand, but also kinda make me feel weird because I had deleted mine after I met his sister. But we never had talked about it before this point. I kinda felt weird when he said, "It's just the reality of dating now," which I argued with, "It's not my reality," and when I told my friends this they agreed with me. However, I was okay with it because I liked him and he was mine now. Everything was fine. We went through the same 2-3 days of no replies from Jay, maybe hanging out once a week when I asked. He would cancel some of the times when I planned for us to do things on our Saturday hangouts. But it was normal at this point, and every time we hung out it was amazing. He was so attentive and affectionate. I was invited to his family's Thanksgivings. I saw his mom again, we got along good. I finally met his dad and his big family. His grandmother gushed over me. It was so amazing. I really liked him. We had a conversation about the things that I wanted to work on in our relationship. I just wanted reassurance that he liked me and wanted to know what he wanted to work on. He told me that it would get better and we would see each other more. It was a very good talk. I felt amazing. He was just always busy with work. Christmas came and we hadn't really talked much, same old same old. He told me he kept thinking about me on Christmas when he was with his family. I had my family Christmas on the weekend following and I invited him to that. We had an amazing time. He got along with my family so well. Everything seemed to be amazing. At this point I had invited him on a vacation I had planned for a couple months for the first week of the new year, before I met him. I was going to San Diego to see my childhood best friend. His sister also lived in San Diego, so it was a win-win to invite him to go see his sister. I had to remind him to put in PTO and get his ticket like 2 weeks before we were to fly out. We drove together to the airport. It was my first time on an airplane, and he helped me a lot. The trip was amazing. I got to see the ocean for the first time. We went shopping, went to the tide pools, watched the sunset together and kissed. Went drunk sea shelling and he and his sister would run up to me with all the pretty shells they found for me. I honestly thought I could tell this guy the first loved him. Everything was fantastic. The week we got back, I didn't hear from him for 5 days. I even went to check on him and got no response. However, when he did respond, he told me he was sick and apologized. I was worried, so I told him to reach out if there was anything he needed. The week after that, we talked every other day with our paragraph conversations. He asked me on Friday if I was free the next day. I said yes, thinking this was a date. Saturday came and I didn't hear from him at all during the day. I messaged him at like 7 p.m. asking him if he was okay. He said, "Can we talk?" Confused I said yeah, and he came over. I kinda had a feeling in my gut and was preparing for it. He had me come out to his truck and sit in the passenger seat. We should see other people. I was gutted. I just asked why. He replied, "I don't think we're compatible, and I just don't see myself marrying you. You're so cute and sweet, and I really like you." He said he had the feeling at the back of his mind for the last 2 months. He wanted to use the California trip as the deciding factor. I was so confused. I said some mean things. Don't apologize, you're not sorry, but I did apologize to him because he hurt me. I shouldn't try to hurt him in return. That is not how I like to view things. I just asked if he was sure, he said yes. So it just ended like that. I didn't cry, still haven't cried. I tried so hard to cry when he was doing it, but I couldn't. It's been a couple days now, and after talking with my friends I kind of started to realize things. It was always me making dates. He only ever asked me to do something with him, dates, like 5 times throughout our entire relationship. When we talked it was only me making the conversation, he never started any conversation. When we were in the car together, it would be silent because I would wait for him to talk about something he liked because I have car anxiety and more so just wanted him to have a chance to talk, but it was just silent. He only bought me things when I bought him things first. He only ever called me cute, never beautiful or pretty. He never celebrated any of my achievements, important events with me. He would just cancel because, work. I did love his family and his cats. As I typed this I also realized, I grabbed all of his things he left at my place for him when he came over to break up with me, but he didn't even think to give me the one thing I left at his place. Even though he had thought for 3 days about breaking up with me. I think the thing that is making me super sad is just everything seemed so good when we actually were together, with my rose-tinted glasses on, and I don't know what I did. I don't want to be bitter, because the time we did have together, in person, was awesome. I know he didn't cheat on me after we became official. I think my anxiety over all of this is because I am embarrassed. Apologies for the long post. Most of my friends are also so confused on what happened because we seemed so connected when we were together, but I can't help the feeling at the back of my mind that I did something wrong. TLDR: had a seemingly amazing relationship with a guy for 8 months and we got along so well according to his family and my friends. I am just wondering, what did I do wrong, or what could I do better in the future? The early red flag for me with the pattern of 2-3 days of no replies from, and I would have ended it at 5 days. You did nothing wrong except settle for treatment when you deserve so much better. I hope the next person is just as attentive and caring as you and gives you as much love as you give out. As for your question of what to leers and what to do in future dating, I think you said it yourself. Pay attention to what the other person is doing rather than their excuses, and don't invest more time, energy into them than they do into you. You made a very common mistake a lot of women make, and I have made in the past. You dated yourself. You did all the work and he was more just there tagging along. You drove the interesting conversations, you drove the dates, you drove all the niceties, all of that while you doing the heavy lifting. In essence, you dated yourself and he was just there tagging along, reaping the benefits. But because you were so happy to ahve someone going along with your infatuation, you didn't notice that he wasn't doing any of the work. You didn't do anything wrong most likely. It only takes one person to break up, and from his days without texting, suspiciousness with the dating apps, you can easily delete the app without deleting the account and then re-download the app with the account intact. And little to no initiation of dates you went on. It just seems like he wasn't viewing the relationship as endgame material the whole time. It sucks and you deserve better commitment than that. He doesn't sound like that considerate or supportive of a guy, and it's likely just the time invested that still hurts, but time will also heal. I hope you find someone who treats you like a priority in the future. Did you have a similar problem with the long-term boyfriend you were with? Where you did everything and he just kind of coasted? The only advice I have for you is to reflect on how you've been treated. You said that you fell too fast, which I would agree with. I think it would be best in the future to let them reciprocate. Don't do so many favors for them. It will wear you down to nothing. I'm NGL and it's a fault of mine, weakness. Some of us guys don't know how to tell a girl we're dating we're not into her that much if she's super kind, affectionate. It's hard to hurt someone, but you need to so they move on. I struggled with this before, where I would fake it and act so she wouldn't get hurt when in reality I just wasn't that into her anymore. I honestly think he went through something similar and it's a weakness of his. I'm thinking of leaving my 33 female husband, 36 male, for failure to share the load. As the title suggests, I'm thinking of leaving my husband and need some advice. We've been married 4 years, together for 11, and have 2 kids under 2.5. We have a lot of issues, including the way he speaks to me, but the biggest thing I keep coming back to is sharing the load. For example, this week, I tweaked my back on Saturday and have been struggling since, having to take heavier meds and sit on a heating pad every night. But I've still been getting our kids out of the house. The last 3 days have been off, getting them outside time, etc., but I'm dead by the evening. I told him over text last night that would appreciate help with some household chores, then promptly fell asleep because I was exhausted. He did none of the things I asked for help with, claiming today when I brought it up that he thought we were going to do it together and that he's been working his ass off to do the things I ask. By this I mean that recently, not this week, he's done 2 whole loads of laundry, a few loads of dishes, and for the first time in our whole relationship actually put his clothes away when I was done folding them. Is it crazy to feel like this alone is grounds for splitting up? I've been fighting the same battle for 10 years, and yes, he's improved over time, but we're still significant other far from where I feel like we should be. Anyone else gone through this, and what did you do? Thanks in advance. Editing to add, since people want to say I am not giving the full story. We both work full time. I work long shifts on my feet outside the home. He works from home at a desk job in PJs. He does cook most of our dinners, and will do some dishes here and there, but not consistently, like 1 or 2 loads a week at best. He does help with the kids and has them outside of his work hours when I'm working because he has to due to our current childcare setup. I do all of the laundry for the entire family, and all of the cleaning aside from a little picking up of toys or trash from time to time. And he's done none of this while I've been hurt. I've taken the kids out of the house 3 days in a row despite the toll it's taken on me because they needed it. Cleaned till 2 a.m. the other night. Still did the family laundry and the majority of pet care. I asked, insisted he handle the majority of bedtime 2 nights this week to let me rest my back, sit on a heating pad, and it was drama both times. Although this sort of behavior is hugely damaging to a relationship and is enough to make you feel so totally separate from your partner, I am also so concerned with the "how he speaks to me" comment that must be draining and difficult too. Look up this comic blog post, "You Should Have Asked Emma." This is an incredibly common reason for divorce, and most women walk right into it by ignoring all of the obvious signs during dating. You should read this together and have a stern conversation about shared household responsibilities. I left my ex-husband for similar, and I don't regret that one bit. I worked full-time, earned more, took care of the house and the kids. I even did all the fixing around the house because my ex weaponized his incompetence there, too. I got tired, asked for a change, didn't get over, so I ended it. There was more to it, like the way he treated me and financial issues, but me being the only responsible adult is the main factor. Found myself a man who cooks and cleans and respects my time and effort. I'm much happier now, and he's absolutely miserable. I would give him an opportunity to step up. If he's still slacking, then cut him loose and make him someone else's problem. He doesn't care enough about your marriage and family to do his share, despite your repeated asking and pleading. He has refused to go to marital therapy. He speaks to you in ways you won't even talk about here. I think you need to ask yourself what he is even bringing to the table at this point. Can you respect and love him? What are you two teaching your kids about relationships and gender roles and how partnerships work? Have you told him that you have one foot out the door? That might change his tune. Have you had counseling together? Your reasons aren't invalid, but it is up to you how much more effort you are willing to put in before you throw in the towel. Sounds like you're living with a third dependent. I tweaked my shoulder this week. I also have two under 2.5 and an 8 years old. My husband brought me home dinner the night it happened after his full day of manual labor, got up with the kids every morning so I could sleep longer, did school pickups, did the dishes every day this week, let me take multiple hot showers to try and help it, gave me massages at night, did the 2-year-old's bedtime solo every night, and took care of the animals. And paid rent early so I didn't have to think about it. Without me asking.